Hello, welcome to the American Business Podcast. I'm Kevin Devecioglu, your host. I'm welcoming you, episode 67. We have a great guest today, and we'll talk about small businesses. We'll talk about different business challenges. We'll talk about AI, and we'll have a great conversation. Let's invite our guest, and let's get the conversation started. Hello, Al. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thanks, Kevin. Happy to be here. Happy
Thank you very
Friday.
much. Happy Friday. Thank you very much. How is your week going so far?
Oh, it's great. If you could invent a cloning machine for me, it'd be even better.
Well, yeah, that sounds good. Well, that's
How are
great.
you? How's your week going?
My week is so far so good. It's actually very busy for me in general, so I truly appreciate it with the full time work and plus the podcast. They really keep me busy. So
Yeah, thank God it's Friday.
thank God it's Friday. TGIF. Yes, thank you so much. Well, if that's okay, we can get our conversation started, and
Yeah,
let's start the chit chat if that's okay. So
absolutely.
appreciate it. As a start, would you please introduce yourself and manage CPA to our audience and to our listeners?
Sure. So my name is Al Myers. I've been a certified public accountant for a very long time. I am currently Senior Director of Tax Services and Strategic Planning at Manay CPA. We are a Turkish-American company, female founded. Our founder is from Istanbul, but our headquarters is in Marietta, Georgia, and we're a full service accounting firm. So we can do new business formations and conversions. We can do accounting, bookkeeping, payroll services, outsourced HR services. We can do tax preparation, tax advisory services, you name it. Our firm can do all of it. And one of the things that we specialize in because of our founding is international, cross-border, foreign tax matters, which can be very complex. So we can really work with a lot of business owners that may have operations in multiple countries.
How about yourself? How did you start your career? How did your career unfold over the years?
It's interesting. I can kind of look at my career as chapters. So like the first chapter was really building that grit, that foundation. I mean, I was fortunate to be a Division I baseball player who was also a soccer player. I actually gave up Division I scholarships in soccer to play baseball, but I learned a lot about teamwork, right? About persistence and about giving your best at all times. All those qualitative skills. And then I got into public accounting, and my career started, and my foundation began with the Big Four firm, and learned the basics about accounting and auditing and corporate finance. And then moved into private industry, and I was in the entertainment industry for many years with Turner Broadcasting. But then I got my MBA, so I wanted to learn more, and so I ended up getting an MBA in strategic management and organizational behavior. And then I moved with Turner down to Atlanta, to our headquarters. That's what brought me to Atlanta. And was doing corporate strategy, development, M&A, and I got to do a lot of other things at that point. That's where I got to learn how to lead, how to trust my instincts, build that maturity, how to manage people. I helped raise, internal money. I helped launch a pioneering video game business in the late 2000s called GameTap. It was a $100 million investment, which I ended up helping get sold before I left the company. I started my own company back in the late 2000s in the video game industry. So I started to hone my entrepreneurial skills. I did a TED Talk, which is pretty unusual for a CPA to be doing, because I was very involved in the video game industry before the real estate market collapsed in the late 2000s. I've started my own businesses. I've started nonprofits. I've advised startups, but then I came back to doing service about 5 years ago because I've all been about servant leadership, and I got into tax, went back into tax a few years ago, and have sort of ascended rapidly, if you will. And I pride myself on helping my clients preserve their wealth legitimately.
When you look at your work on daily basis, what are the exciting and challenging parts that you can share with us?
Sure. I mean, one of the things that's great about, at least the way I look at what I do, is that I'm not a one-dimensional thinker, because I've had all these different experiences, right? I didn't just do one thing my whole career, right? So I've been able to take everything that I've learned and apply it to the next adventure. What makes this job great is that every day is a different day, and you really don't know what to expect. You think you do, but then you get a curveball thrown at you. And you have to be really good at, interacting with clients and being able to, explain things so that they understand it. But, I think of tax as like a puzzle, right? And putting that puzzle together, but putting it together in a way that, gives, my clients actionable, strategies, things that they can do to reduce their tax burden in the United States. And so when I know that I've helped a client, it's a great day. And I could go home and sleep well at night. There are other days where, you wish that things would have gone differently, but that's like in any job. But I've always enjoyed it, helping my clients, and servant leadership in different ways. And so that's what makes this job very interesting. And now at this point in my career, I'm one of the, I think I'm the oldest person at my firm. I like to mentor and help the younger people. So if I can help to, help them to make good decisions or to just be a part of their, career development, then I'm also, very happy about that as well.
Yeah, this is really exciting. And El, because you are working with different organizations, you also learn from their challenges, right? You listen to them, you understand their business processes in general, which gives you a great edge in terms of keeping the pulse of U.S. small businesses. Having said that, what do you think about the state of U.S. small businesses in the country? What are their typical challenges that you are observing when you are interacting with them?
Sure. I mean, I think, we're at a very, interesting, time in our nation's history. I think that because of technological innovation, the barriers to entry have really, really come down significantly, right? And, we'll talk more about it, but with like technological innovation and things like AI, we're starting to see, a shift in workforce and skill sets. And now, with some of the disruption going on with, with international trade, I think it's certainly causing small business owners, to rethink their business models and how they're going to go at things. But I think the core challenges are still the same. The things that I've seen haven't changed in several years. And that is, first of all, you still have to be able to articulate what you do in 30 seconds. If you can't explain to somebody what your business does in 30 seconds, then there's a problem. I also just see a lot of entrepreneurs try to do too many things at the same time. What you really need to do is to get good at one thing and then move on to the next thing when it scales, or pivot if it's not working. Most people don't realize that, like, Twitter was not the first idea. That was a side hustle, right? And so you have to remember that cash is precious, and you really do need to bootstrap, because it's never good to take somebody else's money too early unless you need it. And that also goes for debt as well. Don't get yourself into trouble because you're blinded by your vision. But I think that, it's very important for entrepreneurs to listen to other people. Don't be blinded by your vision and think that, you have the holy grail and you're right and everybody's wrong. I think that you have to find a trusted group of advisors, an inner circle that can help you, and that you will listen to make those difficult trade-off decisions, so that you can manage your cash. At the end of the day, startups start and end with cash, and everything sort of flows from there.
What do you think about AI and the impact of AI in business world in general?
So if there's one thing that keeps me up at night right now, it's AI. I mean, I used to lecture on something that's called, disruptive innovation theory. And we don't have to get into the academic side of that, but, it's basically where, an innovation comes comes out that may appear cheap or low cost, and the incumbents are blind to it because they think they're not seeing the big strategy. But then what happens is they get lapped on the web. You've seen it with things like Netflix, for example, right? Is a perfect example of disruptive innovation. And so, AI is the latest thing. And, what I worry about with AI is it's an incredible tool that can certainly help with workforce and efficiency and helping you improve productivity. But like any other innovation, it always happens faster than regulation. And we'll get into regulation later, but like any innovation, it can be used for good and it can be used for evil. And so my fear is just that, at some point we're going to need to put some, guardrails up to ensure that, it's doing good and that it's not, having unintended negative consequences. Like, for example, I worry about, young people's ability to learn. Are they going to basically just be trusting what AI says and not actually learning what they need to learn to use human judgment and to apply their what they're learning to making those difficult business decisions? So I worry about, AI, but AI can certainly be used in a good way. And we just have to make sure that, whatever we do, that, we don't stifle the innovation, but that it doesn't wreak more havoc than it should in our economy, in our daily lives, just, in our brain capacity.
Absolutely. How about when you look at AI, do you think will AI replace humans and jobs?
So I don't believe that AI can ever replace human judgment or empathy, right? We've known this for years. They've tried. We've seen movies about it. Robots, artificial intelligence can't be emotional. It's just not. I worry about AI, in my industry, because I think in the areas of the law and accounting and tax, I just worry in the short term about AI being used, to create misinformation and people trusting unreliable sources, because especially when it's open and it's pulling from anywhere on the web. So I worry about that very much. I think this was the same problem you saw in every industry that started to open its pipes. Look in the video game industry when they started going online, right? Look how long it took for the cable industry to start streaming content. The incumbents are always slow to adopt new technology, but I just, I worry about in the short term whether AI will be incorporated properly, but it certainly has the potential to fundamentally change many different industries.
Do you think AI should be regulated?
Yeah, the short answer is yes, right? You never, like anything else, you never want to come out of the gate and overregulate innovation too soon, because then you can stifle innovation. But you gotta know when does that inflection point present itself. And history has shown that regulators are always late to the party. So by the time they come in, a lot of times it's kind of hard to rein it in at that point. So I worry about privacy, right? I worry about deep fakes. I worry about are you really talking to somebody on the other end that you think is a real person and they're not? I'm not a digital native, right? I mean, I remember a world before there was the internet. So we're now in a totally different world right now. And so yes, I think regulation should be in there as a protective mechanism, but they've got to find a way to strike a balance between regulation and innovation. But I do worry about things like security, confidentiality, right? it's the same issues that have been coming up for years on the internet, right? Look how long it took for the government to sort of protect children, right? Social media, for example. It's the same thing now. I just want to make sure that, that we put the protective measures in place so that it grows in a positive way and not have unintended negative consequences.
In your career journey, have you had any role models and or mentors who help you shape your professional career?
Fortunately, I've had a few, right? I think, obviously from my athletic days, I had coaches, I had people at a young age. One of the big things is, that always give 100%, because you never know when somebody's watching you. And I've had many moments in my career where I got really put on a different path because of something I did that added value, right? It could have been anything. It started when I could say when I was 12 years old and I went to a baseball camp and a former Hall of Famer watched me take batting practice, and out of the whole group of kids came up to me after and said, watched me take batting practice and said, "You have a great swing." And that was the day I could tell you that I wanted to become a Major League Baseball player. There was a time when I moved into the strategy group where I came up with this we were looking at a multi-billion-dollar acquisition, and I came up with this, I had just come out of grad school, and I came up with this index that I had learned that would help. It was an index that measured the degree of concentration of an industry, which would help regulators determine whether or not it was violating antitrust rules. Was it a monopoly or not? And because I did that, I helped the attorneys considerably, and I got into the inner circle of my strategy group. I went on and I got to grow from there. I could go down the list. The point is, the other thing that I learned was not even from a mentor that was alive. So I'm a real history buff, and I read all the books about the founding fathers in the United States. So the greatest, and I took a leadership course, in grad school. The greatest leader our country's ever had was Abraham Lincoln. What most people don't know about Abraham Lincoln is that he had a very interesting, practice. So remember, back then, the way you communicated was by writing letters back and forth. So if he was writing a letter to somebody, but he thought that he was writing it in anger, he would stop himself, put the letter in a drawer, and he would come back to it when he got perspective, when he took the emotions out.
Yes.
After he was assassinated, when they went in the Oval Office, they found boxes of letters that he had never sent out. And I'm still learning this, is, when to take a step back. But the most important thing is, always give 100%. You never know when somebody is watching. So do your best, love what you do, and do what you love. Because there's something I've also researched called grit. And, grit means when the chips are down, you're not going to give up. So you really do have to love what you do, because then you're not going to be dissuaded by some adversity, because adversity is going to happen. And my son's actually given me some great, things that he follows. One is positive mental attitude, right? That's very hard to do. The other one is seek discomfort. So don't, be afraid to try something new, right? Doing that TED Talk in 2009 was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. I went way outside of my comfort zone to do that, but it was one of the greatest experiences that I've had in my professional career. But don't take no for an answer. That's the other thing, Kevin. GameTap, when I launched that at Turner, was an idea. And I'll never forget, I was in a meeting with our folks at Warner Brothers, sister company, and the head of Warner Brothers in the meeting said, "You're never going to get the rights to the games. You're never going to launch this." And we were like, "No, I think we can do this." And I ended up launching it. We launched GameTap with 37 publishers on board and over 1,500 games. We fulfilled our brand promise. And so, I've always proved people wrong. So believe in yourself. I'm coming back to that thing I said earlier. But mentors give you your moral compass and help you with you know, doing what's right, and also, doing the right thing when nobody's looking, and that's called integrity.
Well, this is a bonus question because you just mentioned that you're a history buff, right?
So I hope I get it
right. Okay, so this is a bonus question. If you have a chance to go back history, what time period would you like to go back and why?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. I mean, I don't know that there's just one. I think I would like to go back to the founding fathers because they were all geniuses. I think I would like to spend a day with Alexander Hamilton. He was arguably the most brilliant of the founding fathers because he built our whole treasury system from scratch, and he wasn't even educated. That's what makes him incredible. I think that people don't realize the sacrifices that were made back then. There was no planes. When you went overseas, you had to get on a boat, and it took months. You were away from your spouse for months and months and months. So, I mean, to me, that's an era that I would like to certainly go back. I think there may be some. I would like to go back during the the Renaissance, the Age of Enlightenment in Europe, because that's where a lot of the ideas came from. So for me, what people don't understand about America is that our country was built. Our system wasn't built from scratch. We took what we thought was the best of civilizations before us. We took stuff from the Roman Republic. We took stuff from some of the philosophers, right, from the Age of Enlightenment. We took stuff from even from the UK system, what we liked about it, cast us on what we didn't. So there's a lot of. I don't think there's one point in history, Kevin,
Yes.
but I love history, and I think the other thing that I would just say, for people out there is, and the reason why I love history is, just because something's new doesn't mean you can't learn from the past. History is a lens for the future, because you can look at, maybe the mistakes that were made, but, it can help you make better decisions going forward, right? I think if you look at our history, but I don't want to get political, but, things were left out of our Constitution to preserve the Union, but they just kicked the boulder, and then within another 100 years, we had a civil war in the United States. So my point being, history is a great lens. So I tell young people, don't assume that, what's old can't be leveraged for the current, world that we're in, right? And the other thing I would say to them is, don't be impulsive. It's okay to take a step back before you make an important decision, right? Make sure that you look at things from different angles, right? Bring in other points of view. Don't always surround yourself with what are yes men or yes women, right? It's okay to have some debate. That's what makes for breakthrough innovation, right? When you can bring together a diverse set of opinions and skill sets and backgrounds. So don't always look for advisors or people that think just like you, right? It's okay to bring a melting pot together of diversity, because that's what drives real innovation.
Well, what do you do in your free time? What are your biggest passions and interests outside of work?
So, I mean, obviously we talked a lot about history, and I have read a lot of books, a lot of, nonfiction, but like now, I've always, obviously I'm a huge sports buff, so I still love to watch sports, baseball, soccer, I'll watch the, English Premier League when I can. I don't have a favorite team, but I just love watching it. It's just great quality soccer. I think that I also love travel when I can. I love learning new cultures. So, for example, right now, just by benefit of being with a Turkish company, I've had the chance to go to Turkey a few times, and I'm actually learning Turkish right now. And that's, really hard at my age to learn a new language, but I've always embraced a new challenge. And so I see this as another challenge and something that I'm going to, work very hard to try to accomplish. I've always been goals driven, and I've never let anybody tell me that it can't be done. That's just in my DNA. So but I love to travel and I love learning new cultures and putting myself in new situations. Like I said earlier, practice what I preach. So as my son would say, seek discomfort. And I think I've sought a lot of discomfort.
Do you have any career advice for the next generation who are listening to us, watching
Yeah,
us?
I think some of it we've probably already touched on, but we can piece it back together, Kevin.
Mhm.
Like I said, find your passion, right? And it's okay to not know what your passion is at the outset. You may have to do some different things before you figure out what your passion is. It's okay to come out of college and not have a job when you come out of college, right? It's okay. That's the time to make mistakes, and making mistakes is okay, right? There's a lot of different points of view about this. People say fail fast, but learn from your failures, because you learn more from your failures than your successes. And I think, like I said, always do your best. Don't ever, do anything, at 50% speed, right? Give it your best all times. And I think, listen well, and, always, try to be positive, and you have to believe in yourself. It's okay. You might hear no a lot, but don't be dissuaded by no. You have to keep your eye on the prize. But it's also okay to pivot. And that's the other thing. You need to know there's an old Kenny Rogers song called The Gambler. And part of the lyrics go, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. So you got to know when you're hearing enough from other people. Don't be blinded by your vision. If you're hearing enough commonalities in something and they're saying, well, maybe you need to pivot or do something else, then maybe you need to listen to the advice if you trust those people. But I love helping people with their career advice, because it's like I said, every adventure, you should take something out of it that's going to help you do even more in your next adventure. So like I said, I've looked at my career in a series of chapters, and I've applied everything, and I've had bumps along the way too. Believe me. I mean, I talked about the great, with the real estate market melting in the late 2000s. I mean, we wouldn't have to revisit that. But failure is okay. Just learn from your mistakes, because it's going to make you, it's going to make you better as an entrepreneur, as a colleague, as just a valuable contributor to our society.
For those who likes to be in touch with you and continue this conversation, what is the best way to be in touch with you?
Yeah, you can reach me, at Mene CPA. You can reach out. It's A Myers, AMEYERS at MeneCPA.com. But you can obviously reach out at our website, and we'd be happy to help you with any of your business needs. And if we can help you, we will. We're a family, and we treat our clients like family.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for being with us in your busy schedule, and thank you for sharing your professional insight.
Kevin, I enjoyed it very much. I look forward to doing this with you again. Thank you so much.
Anytime. Pleasure is all mine, and I wish you a great weekend.
Oh, thank you. You too, Kevin.
Thank you very much.
Take care. All right.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Well, to our audience and to our listeners, thank you for watching and listening to the American Business Podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I like it very much with Al Mayers from Mene CPA Tax Services Company. They are based in Atlanta. And in this session, we learn about Al Mayers' career journey. We also had a chance to hear from him about his professional insights and professional wisdom based on his experience. That was really educational. I hope you like it. I found it to be very informative. And we'll continue bringing you more professionals and experts, just like today, to make sure every single The American Business Podcast episode is educational and informative. Would you like to be a guest in our podcast? you can send us an email, americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. We also welcome organizations, companies to advertise and sponsor. You can also send us an email, americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. If you also visit our website, americanpodcast.tv, you can learn more about our podcast. You'll also see the coming schedule that we post every week with our guests, as well as the subjects that we will be covering. As you know, a couple of weeks ago, we got the YouTube Silver Award. Now we have more than 120,000 YouTube subscribers. Thank you very much for your support. If you haven't done so, please visit our YouTube channel and subscribe. And if you feel also generous, please share your comment, your thoughts in the chat box on YouTube and share it with your contacts. We'll truly appreciate it. A couple of weeks ago, we started a membership program. This membership program is ABP membership program. Let's bring it to our screen and let's talk about it a little bit. We have different membership options for you to support us. We'll truly appreciate it. And it's called American Business Podcast ABP membership. And I also have a QR code on top right that you can scan. This QR code will take you to a page that you can be a member and you can support our channel. We'll truly appreciate it. Whether you are a next generation business professional or a senior or an executive, we have different models, different membership models that you can be part of this membership group. And we truly appreciate your support in that sense. For that, please just scan the QR code on the screen and please be a member and support our podcast. This morning, we had the Connectional America Business Alliance online networking event. In this event, we had a chance to introduce different business professionals. We had 7 attendees and of course our thousands of YouTube subscribers and followers. Together we had a chance to learn about different businesses, different professionals, their products, services, and what makes them different. That was a great opportunity. It is on our YouTube channel. You can watch if you like. It took actually more than an hour. It was very insightful, and we had different business professionals to chat with and talk with in terms of their business professions, their products, services, and companies. So there's a lot to talk about. I hope you'll enjoy that episode. That's available on YouTube. If you like to join and introduce your business, your products and services, please scan this QR code and it'll take you to our registration page and you can pick the date that you like. The Connectional America Business Networking event is monthly. We just complete these months earlier today. And we are also scheduled for September, October, November, and December. You can pick the date that you like. You can register and join. Because that's an exclusive event, we have limited seating. In this sense, earlier is better. If you register and join the roster, that'd be great. And it's a great opportunity for you to introduce your products, your services, and also introduce your company to our business-minded thousands of the American Business Podcast followers and subscribers. Okay, what else is happening? Let's talk about our sponsors. If you like to learn Excel and other Microsoft business software products in a fun way, please consider Ms. Excel. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan this QR code. It'll take you to their website that you can see their course portfolio. Pick the one that you like. Before you check out, make sure to use this discount code. I have it on the screen. It is ABP 2025. If you are in the market for SAP and Oracle NetSuite products, ERP software systems, these are accounting and operational business software systems, please consider iTech Consulting Inc. They are specialized in SAP and Oracle implementation, configuration, and support services. It's a great company in North America, and I have a QR code here that you can scan and it'll take you to their website that you can learn more about their products, their services especially, and about the company. And if you get in touch with them for further discussions, make sure you got the information from the American Business Podcast so that you'll get some more discount. Great. That's all for today. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the coming The American Business Podcast episode. The American Business Podcast is the voice of American business. Thank you very much.